Hi everyone, I'm Mary from Susan's family. Today I'm going to show you a new design, the Adventure Fairy Tale Music Box, Alice version. For this electronic tutorial, you can search for susud.com on the website to check it out. This music box is divided into 3 parts, the doll, the base, and the cup. Start by making the doll, then make and assemble the base and the cup. The doll includes the arms, the legs, the body, the collar, the skirt, the head, the hair accessories, the ears, and the assembly, and the doll's decorations. Let's start by learning how to crochet the arms. There are 2 arms, both started with an Accessory chart magic ring method. Crochet in rounds counterclockwise. Before we start, let's take a look at the chart. In the chart, our plus number represents the round number. The column for stitch instructions shows the stitch patterns and increase or decrease situations needed. When crocheting the current round, the total stitches column indicates the total number of stitches. After completing all stitches in the current round, this doll is crocheted using X stitch single crochet throughout. In later steps, this will simply be referred to as single crochet. The stitch methods used include X for single crochet, V for SC2 in 1, and A for SC2 tog. Chain stitch and slip stitch are also used. Below, please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. To make it easier for everyone to see clearly, I'll use thicker yarn for the demonstration. The colors are random. For specific yarn color schemes and crochet hook sizes, please refer to the detail page of our product and the paper instructions. The cast on is magic ring. This means straighting with an Accessory chart magic ring. Pick up the yarn with your right hand and wrap it twice around your left index finger. There are now 3 strands of yarn on your left index finger. Pinch the overlapping part of the loops with your right thumb and index finger. Take it out gently. Then wrap the tail of the yarn once around your left little finger. Pass the yarn through between the middle finger and index finger. Transfer the loop to between the left hand's middle finger and thumb. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook between these 2 points. Hook into the loop. Position the hook to the left of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw the yarn through. There is now 1 loop on the hook. Crochet a chain to secure. Yarn over. Draw through the loop. 1 chain is completed. Pull tight. The magic ring is now finished. Keep the loop on the hook a little loose. This will make it easier for the following crochet work. Next, we'll work on the first round. Our 1 is 6x. The number before X indicates how many single crochets to work. This means you work 6 single crochets into the magic ring. Start with 1 chain as the beginning chain for the single crochet. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through. This beginning chain is not marked in the chart. But when crocheting in rounds, you need to work a beginning chain at the beginning of each round. The beginning chain for single crochet does not count as a stitch. Then, start working the single crochets. Insert into the magic ring. Place the hook above the yarn. Draw the yarn through. 2 loops remain on the hook. Put your hook in front of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Pull the yarn through. Draw through both loops on the hook. That's 1 X stitch single crochet completed. The braid at the upper right corresponds to this stitch. It looks like this V shape formed by 2 strands. Move on to the second single crochet. Insert into the magic ring. Place the hook above the yarn. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Draw through both loops on your hook. The second single crochet is now complete. You need to work 6 single crochets in this round. Continue until you've completed the remaining single crochets. 3, 4, 5, 6. The stitch pattern corresponding to the chart is now complete. After that, close the magic ring. There are 2 loops in total. Gently pull the starting tail first. You'll see one of the loops is movable. Tighten the movable loop. One loop remains. Simply tighten the yarn tail. This will secure the loop. Then finish with a slip stitch in the first single crochet stitch. If you do not know where the very first stitch is, you can also count back from the last stitch. That is this chain. Insert your hook. Draw the yarn through. And draw through all the loops on your hook in once. Slip stitch completed. This is the chain formed by the slip stitch. The joining slip stitch does not count as a stitch, it needs to be tightened. The slip stitch is not indicated in the chart. In practice, when crocheting in rounds, always finish by joining with a slip stitch and tighten it. This completes the first round. Then move on to the second round. R2 is 2xv, asterisk 2, parentheses indicate a group, and asterisk and number indicates how many times to repeat. Start with 1 chain as the beginning chain. Let me emphasize again, at the start of each round, you need to crochet a beginning chain. I won't repeat this for the following rounds. In the first stitch of the previous round, which is also the insertion point of the slip stitch, work 1 single crochet. As you crochet, place the starting tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. Continue picking up the adjacent stitch on the left and working 1 single crochet. Two X is completed. Next, you'll encounter a V, which means working 2 single crochets into the same stitch. Hook into the adjacent stitch on the left. One, 2. Single crochet increase is completed. A group 2xv is completed. Repeat it one more time. First, work 2 single crochets evenly. Then work a SC2 in 1. After completing, you can check the stitch count. You can count backward from the last stitch. There should be 8 stitches in total. I won't mention this again later. Next, work a slip stitch into the first stitch. Pay attention. At the end of every round, slip stitch to the first stitch. Hook into the first stitch. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. And draw through all the loops on the hook in one go. Slip stitch completed. Pull tight. You can cut off the extra yarn tail from the starting chain directly. Tidy up the fabric. That's how you complete round 2. Now let's differentiate the right side and the wrong side. You can see that the texture on the right side is clear. The texture on the wrong side is blurry. We will take the clearer texture side as the right side, and the blurry texture side as the wrong side. Below, in the chart for R3 to R5, it says, even 8x. This means from round 3 to round 5, work single crochets evenly. There are 8 stitches in each round. When you encounter this type of notation later, it will have the same meaning. First, make one chain as your beginning chain, then start working single crochets. Let's continue hooking downward. Keep crocheting until you reach the last stitch of round 5. Pay attention, during the crocheting process, the fabric will naturally curl up. This is a normal phenomenon. Always keep the right side facing you while crocheting. Now, you can see that there is one stitch left in round 5. Since the next round requires switching colors, we need to change the yarn here. First, work an unclosed single crochet, hook into the left stitch. Place the hook above the yarn. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. This is an unclosed single crochet. Then take the new yarn. Hang the yarn with your left hand. Leave about 5 centimeters of the yarn tail. Place it on the wrong side of the fabric. Pull the yarn through. Slightly tighten the original yarn to make it lay flat. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first stitch. When crocheting, keep all yarn tails above the crochet hook. Pull tight. That's how you complete the 5th round. And also finish switching colors. Below, I'll teach you a method for counting rounds. On the surface of the fabric, there are raised textures as your guide. The number of these raised texture indicates how many rounds you've completed. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. A total of 5 rounds. You can count the rounds using this method. Next, let's work on the 6th round. This round still involves single crochets and SC2 in 1, but you need to use the new yarn. Now start working the single crochets. When crocheting, place the new yarn's tail and the original yarn above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. Then, make 1 SC2 in 1. This round needs to be repeated 4 times. Continue crocheting. After a few stitches, you can trim the yarn tail. Refer to the chart and keep going until you complete the 8th round. End with a slip stitch for the last stitch. The 8th round is now complete. Now let's work on the 9th round. Start with 1 beginning chain. Next, make 1 single crochet. As you continue, you'll encounter a SC2 tog. For a cleaner look, we need to work an invisible decrease. Hook into the front loop of the left stitch. The loop closest to you is called the front loop. The loop farther from you is called the back loop. Then, hook into the front loop of the adjacent left stitch. Place the hook above the yarn. Draw the yarn through. Yarn over again. Pull through all loops at once. 1 SC2 tog is now completed. The braid on the upper right represents the stitch. This method of picking up the front loop to decrease is called an invisible decrease. When crocheting with this method, the gaps between stitches are smaller. The fabric overall looks more delicate. For the rest of the crocheting, follow this method. For convenience, we will still refer to it as the SC2 tog. Continue crocheting 1 more single crochet below. 1 SC2 tog. I'll demonstrate the method for a SC2 tog again. Hook into the front loops of the next 2 stitches on the left side. Yarn over. Pull the yarn through twice. The second SC2 tog is now completed. Continue in this manner to complete the remaining stitches. After finishing all, work 1 slip stitch next. Pull tight. Work 1 chain to secure. This securing chain doesn't count as 1 stitch. It is also not marked in the chart. You need to pull tight. Then fasten off the yarn. Finally, work a chain and attach it at the boundary of the arm. Take the corresponding color yarn. Now we will start with a chain. Pick up the yarn with your right hand, wrap it once around your left little finger, pass it through between your middle finger and index finger. Pinch the yarn tail with your left thumb and middle finger. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand, move the hook between these 2 points, place the hook below the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Pinch the crossing point of the loop with your left thumb and middle finger. Then position the hook to the left side of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Draw through the loop. Tighten the tail. Note: the loop on the hook should be slightly loose, to make it easier for crocheting later. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Start crocheting chains. Yarn over. Draw the yarn through. 1 chain is done. Continue to yarn over. Pull through. This is the second stitch. Here, 1 chain represents 1 stitch. The loop on the hook does not count toward the stitch count. Everyone continue crocheting. After completing the corresponding number of chains, you can place it on the arm to check the fit. The number of chains here can also be freely adjusted according to the actual situation. It just needs to wrap around the arm once. Then, cut the yarn. You can see that on the right side of the chain, it looks like a braid. On the wrong side, there are lines like this, which we call the back ridge. Take out the part you crocheted earlier. We will place the wrong side facing outward. Start attaching from the position of the slip stitch. Glue it at the junction of the 2 colors. Finally, weave in the yarn tails. Up to this point, 1 arm is completed. Everyone can crochet the other arm in the same way. That concludes the explanation of the arm. Next, let's learn how to crochet the legs and body. Take a look at the finished product. There are 2 legs. We will start from foundation chain and crochet in rounds counterclockwise. The body is crocheted in rounds upward, continuing from the legs. During the crocheting process, add stuffing and shaping wire. A variety of new stitches are used. All of them are marked on the chart below. Please watch as I demonstrate the specific crocheting method. The cast on is 4ch. This means the method of casting on is foundation chain. Cast on 4 chains. Let's begin with the foundation chain. The color of my sample is not for reference. Pick up the yarn tail with your right hand. Wrap it around the left little finger once. Thread it through between the middle finger and index finger. Pinch the yarn tail with the thumb and middle finger of your left hand. Pick up the crochet hook with your right hand. Move the hook hook between these 2 points. Place the hook underneath the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise. Pinch the crossing point of the loop with your left thumb and middle finger. Then, position the hook to the left side of the yarn. Wrap the yarn counterclockwise again. Draw the yarn through the loop. Tighten the tail. Pay attention, the loop on the hook should be slightly loose, so it's convenient for the next crochet step. This slip knot does not count as a stitch. Start crocheting chains. 1 chain is done. Continue to yarn over. Pull through. This is the second stitch. There should be 4 stitches in total here. Keep crocheting. 3 stitches. 4 stitches. 1 chain represents 1 stitch. The loop on the hook does not count as part of the stitch count. That concludes the explanation of casting on. Now let's move on to the first round. R1 is Dow 2, 2x, W, X, V. Dow 2 means start crocheting from the second to last stitch, then count back from the side of the hook. 1, 2. This is the second to last stitch. Hook into the top strand of the second chain from the hook. The first single crochet is completed. Continue with another one. The second single crochet is done. On the chart below, it's a W for SC3 in 1. That means you'll crochet 3 single crochets into the remaining chain from the beginning chain. One, 2, 3. The SC3 and 1 are now complete. Let's take a look. On the other side of the chain, there are 2 strands left. You will continue crocheting on these strands. Pay attention, this is the first chain. You need to start crocheting from the adjacent chain on the left. As you crochet, place the starting yarn tail above the hook and weave it in. The single crochets on this side should be symmetrical to the other side. Work 2 stitches in the same space. Then you'll encounter a V for SC2 in 1. The SC2 in 1 is now complete. This completes the corresponding stitch pattern for this round. End with a slip stitch in the first stitch. The first round is complete. Now let's crochet the second round. Start with 1 chain as your beginning chain. Next, work 1 SC2 in 1 in the first stitch. 1, 2, SC2 in 1 completed. Continue with 1 single crochet. Next, you'll encounter 3V. The number before the V indicates how many times to repeat the SC2 in 1. The first one. The second one. The third one. Now the 3V is complete. Continue with 1 single crochet and 2 SC2 in 1. End with a slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch. Pull tight. The second round is complete. Now let's work on the third round. For this round, you need to pick the back loops only. We call the strand closer to us the front loop. The strand farther from us is called the back loop. These are the horizontal bars that form the stitches. Start with 1 chain as your beginning chain. Then pick up the loop at the back and start crocheting single crochets. You can see that there is still 1 strand left on the outside. Continue working downward. For this round, work single crochets into the back loops only. Finally, slip stitch into the first single crochet stitch and pull tight. The third round is complete. Now continue with the fourth round. Start with 4 single crochets. Here, simply pick up the stitches as usual and continue crocheting. Next, you'll encounter 3 fa. This means to work 3 DC2 tog. Start with the first one. Yarn over and hook into the next stitch on the left. Yarn over and draw the yarn through. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over again, pull the yarn through the first 2 loops. That's an unclosed double crochet stitch. Continue working another one. Hook into the next stitch on the left. Yarn over. Draw through. The second one is done. Now there are 3 loops on your hook. Yarn over, pull through once. 1 DC2 tog is complete. You need to work 2 more. Start by making 2 unclosed double crochet stitches. 1, 2. Yarn over one last time. Pull through all loops at once. The second DC2 tog is completed. There's one more left. Make sure to finish them all. After completing everything, continue with 4 single crochets correspondingly. Finish with a slip stitch. Pull tight. The 4th round is completed. Continue with the 5th round. Start with 2 single crochets. Then you encounter 3A. This means to work 3 SC2 tog. For a neat appearance, we need to work an invisible decrease. Continue with the second one. Hook into the front loop of the next stitch on the left side. Pull through twice. Continue with one more single crochet. The 3A is now complete. Continue with 3 single crochets. Since the 6th round requires a color change, perform the color change on the 3rd stitch. Take the corresponding yarn. Join the yarn. Finish with a slip stitch. The 5th round is now complete. Let's move on to the 6th round. For this round, still work the back loops only. Start with 1 single crochet. As you crochet, place the original yarn tail above the hook. Weave in the ends as you go along. Then make a SC2 in 1. Continue repeating single crochets and SC2 in 1. One single crochet. One SC2 in 1. This is the second time. You can now cut off the original yarn. Finish with a slip stitch. Pull tight. That completes the 6th round. For the 7th to the 12th rounds, follow the chart to crochet. All the stitch methods used are demonstrated before. Remember, when it's time to change colors, work an unclosed single crochet in the last stitch of the previous round, and weave in the yarn tail as you go. After weaving in a few stitches, cut the yarn tail. Keep going until you finish the 12th round. After completing the 12th round, secure with a chain. Leave a 5 cm yarn tail before cutting the yarn. Next, stuff the filling inside. Take your time when stuffing the legs. Make sure to stuff evenly. You can add less stuffing near the top of the leg. Continue stuffing as you go further. Up to this point, one leg is completed. One leg is now complete. That concludes one leg up to this point. Continue crocheting the second leg using the same method. Note that, after finishing the 12th round, don't cut the yarn, and remember to stuff the filling. Look, I've already finished crocheting the second leg, and stuffed it with filling. Next, we need to connect the two legs together. To start crocheting the body section, first, take the leg with the uncut yarn. Continue crocheting the 13th round, chain 1 to begin. Then work 16 single crochets. After completing, join it to the other leg. Shape it properly. Making sure it doesn't tilt. Continue by working 20 single crochets on the other leg. When you reach the slip stitch position, just pick up the stitch and work a single crochet as usual. Pay attention to keep the yarn tail on the inside. There are 4 stitches left on this leg. You don't need to crochet them. Continue by working 4 single crochets on the left leg. Count 4 stitches from the slip stitch position to the right. Work these stitches slightly tighter. Finally, slip stitch to the first single crochet stitch. Pull tight. Secure with a chain. Break the yarn. Now both legs are connected. There will be a small gap here. It doesn't matter. Round 13 is completed. Now let's move on to row 14. For this row, you need to join a new yarn to continue. Find the second stitch on the right side of the intersection at the back of the leg. Right here. Start by joining the yarn here. The method for joining the yarn is always the same. Now it's joined. Begin with a chain to start the row. Continue with a single crochet in the joining position. While crocheting, pay attention to weaving in the yarn tail. Work another single crochet in the adjacent stitch. After completing, work 2 single crochets on the left leg. That makes 4 single crochets total. Finish with a slip stitch. The insertion point is on the stitch on the left side. Slightly tighten the yarn. That completes row 14. Now let's move on to row 15. Enlarge the loop. Pull the yarn through the loop. Tighten it. Locate the stitch on the right side of the joining position. Hook the yarn out from this stitch. Hook into the stitch. Draw the yarn through. Don't pull the yarn too tight, or too loose here. Adjust slightly so it aligns with the fabric. Begin crocheting. Make 1 chain as your beginning chain. Crochet 1 single crochet in the same stitch. Pick up stitches below and complete 4 single crochets. While crocheting, place the carried yarn above the hook. Weave in it together as you go. There is one single crochet remaining. The insertion point is where you made the slip stitch in the previous round. This completes 6 single crochets. Make the last slip stitch. The insertion point is on the left stitch. Row 15 is completed. Let's move on to row 16. Carry the yarn first. Enlarge the loop. Exit with the ball of yarn. Draw the yarn through at the position above the right stitch. Tidy up the yarn. Continue by making 1 single crochet at the joining position. Work single crochets correspondingly into each stitch below. Pay attention to wrapping the carried yarn while crocheting. Finally, in the same place as the slip stitch from the previous round, crochet 1 single crochet there. Row 16 is now completed. For row 17 below, the method is similar to this row. Start by carrying the yarn across, then work the corresponding stitches. Remember to begin with the SC2 in 1. The final slip stitch should be worked into the stitch on the left side. Everyone, please complete row 17 as well. After finishing row 17, continue with row 18. First, carry the yarn across. Make 1 chain to start. Then you'll encounter K. It means skip a stitch. So here, you skip the first stitch and don't crochet it. On the next stitch, make a SC 2 in 1. Then continue crocheting to finish the row. Make 1 SC 2 in 1. Skip the position of the slip stitch on the left side, and don't crochet it. Slip stitch in the next stitch. The 18th row ends here. For rows 19 to 20, the crochet method is similar to row 18. When you see K, skip 1 stitch. For the rest, crochet with the corresponding stitches. From rows 21 to 23, there's no need to increase stitches. Just work even without adding or decreasing. Pay attention to the position of carrying the yarn each time. It should always be on the stitch to the right of the previous round's carried yarn position. The ending slip stitch connects to the next row. Keep crocheting all the way down to row 23. As you can see, I've already finished row 23. The last stitch is a slip stitch. After completing it, there will be 8 stitches remaining on the left leg. You can check this now. Next, let's start crocheting round 24. Here we need to crochet in rounds. Work 1 single crochet into the left stitch. Then continue with 7 more single crochets. That makes a total of 8 single crochets here. You can see that one leg is perfectly crocheted here. Next, continue with 8 single crochets on the left leg. After completing the 8 single crochets, skip 1 stitch. Then move to the carrying yarn position. Here, work single crochets evenly into each stitch. Pay attention. Skip 1 stitch and leave it unworked. Finally, join with a slip stitch to the first single crochet. Tighten the yarn. After finishing, you can check the stitch count. Make sure it matches the chart. Finish with 1 chain to secure. cut the yarn. That completes round 24. Now let's move on to round 25. For this round, adjust the position of the first stitch before crocheting. Locate the middle position at the junction between the legs. Work upwards and find the corresponding stitch. It should be about this stitch. We will start by joining the yarn at this stitch. You can also count the stitches from the right side to confirm the position. Here, we join the yarn at the 10th stitch. And that's how you join it. Note that the colors of the yarn in the video are not for reference. Please refer to the chart for the correct colors when crocheting. This will not be mentioned again later. Start with one chain as the beginning chain. Work even single crochets into the back loops only. Finish this round. For rounds 26 to 30, just follow the chart and crochet. Make sure you complete them nicely. Now let's move on to round 31. In this round, we need to join the arms. I'll demonstrate the method using a sample. The specific colors are not for reference. First, make 5 single crochets. Then take one of the arms. The arm I have here is a sample. This is only to explain the method. Pay attention to the position of the slip stitch facing downward. This makes the joining more attractive. Then work one single crochet on the arm. Make 2 SC2 tog. Here, skip 3 stitches and leave them unworked. Now the stitch pattern on the arm is completed. Continue crocheting on the body. You also need to skip 3 stitches on the body. Start working the single crochets from the 4th stitch. Continue crocheting downward. After completing the corresponding number of single crochets, continue to connect the other arm. Similarly, make sure the slip stitch faces downward. Work 1 single crochet. Make 2 SC2 tog. Skip 3 stitches here as well. Both the arm and body should skip 3 stitches and leave them unworked. Start working single crochets from the 4th stitch. The 31st round is completed. The arms are now joined. Next, continue with the stuffing. When stuffing, pay attention. Don't overstuff the gaps in the legs. You can leave some space unfilled at the top. Then add the shaping wire. Take out the shaping wire. Both sides need to be bent about 1 centimeter. Place it on the body and fit well to check. The length you get plus 2 centimeters is the length you need to cut. Everyone, cut according to this length. Here, I've already cut it. Next, fold both ends. Insert it into the arm. Tidy it up a little. That's how you make the shaping wire. For the 32nd and 33rd rounds below, follow the chart and crochet accordingly. After finishing, secure with a chain and fasten off the yarn. Once completed, you can also add more stuffing if needed. This will make the body part firmly stuffed. Let's finish it up. Next, we'll work on the 34th round. This round involves picking up the front loops from the 8th round. Note that the direction of joining the yarn is important. Place the sole facing up before joining the yarn. Locate the position of the slip stitch. We will start joining the yarn from the slip stitch position again. This way, the yarn tail will be left on the wrong side. After joining the yarn, work a round of single crochet evenly. While crocheting, pick only the front loops. And remember to weave in the ends. Finally, slip stitch to the first stitch. Pull tight. That's it, one leg is completed. Weave in the ends carefully. Follow the same method to crochet the other leg. Lastly, sew up the gaps on the legs and arms. Start by sewing the arms. Take the corresponding color yarn. Thread it through the needle. Tie a knot with the yarn tail. Then secure the yarn inside the arm. Now start sewing. While sewing, keep the yarn tail of the arm inside. There's no specific requirement for the sewing method here. Just make sure there are no large gaps. Finally, weave in the ends. Cut the yarn. That's it, one arm is sewn together. Everyone can sew the other arm using the same method. After finishing the arms, let's sew the gaps on the legs. Take the corresponding yarn. And secure it inside the leg. Here you can pick up 2 stitches together while sewing. Again, there's no specific requirement for the sewing method. Just ensure there are no large gaps. Then weave in the ends. And cut the yarn. Up to this point, we've covered everything about the legs and the body.